go ahead and get started. And if I see anyone else trickling in, I'll promote them to a panelist as well. But feel free to use the chat. I am doing this by myself today, so bear with me. And thank you all. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for attending the 2023-2024 Economic Development Competitive Grant Program Community Workshop and Application Walkthrough. I'll just start off by introducing myself. My name is Abraham Salinas. I am the newest addition to the Economic Development Division here at the City of Brentwood. And I will be leading the grant program this year, obviously with support of my colleagues, Darren and Ricardo. But with that, I mean, we are a small group, so I always like to do at least a round of introductions. We can start from the top. I'll just read off my screen so we're not calling each other out or popping back and forth. So Denise.
I am Denise Duran. I'm the this year's Chamber President for the City of Brentwood, or all the Brentwood Chamber of Commerce President for the 2023 year. And looking forward to just being able to continue learning more about how we can do our best for providing resources and connection for the community.
Thank you, Denise. Colleen?
Hi, I'm Colleen Knight. I am also a director on the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also very involved with the Rotary Club of Brentwood, and currently retired, but consider myself an active retiree and staying very involved in the community.
Thank you, Colleen. Katie?
Hi, my name is Katie Brandt. I'm with Bill Brantford in Brentwood, and I'm also a Chamber Board Director, and I'm excited to be here and learn some more about the grant program.
Thank you, Katie. Miguel?
Hi, my name is Miguel Saldana. I'm the owner of Azúcar Candies and More, and we help all the nonprofits here in our community, and we celebrate the Day of the Dead Festival every year. And she's Melissa.
And I'm also part of the committee of the Day of the Dead event that we hold every year in Brentwood.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Melissa. Adam?
Hello, yes, my name is Adam Martinez. I am the owner of Handy Dad's Construction here in Brentwood. I'm also on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce and an active Rotarian. I am responsible for putting on the hometown Halloween and La Gran Fiesta.
Thank you, Adam. Rose?
Hi, good. I guess you're not going to say my last name, are you?
I'm not going to try, but
It's all right. It's all right. It's Rose Langensiepen, and I'm the Chief of Operations for the California Black Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for inviting us to this webinar, and we're excited to be a contributing factor towards that. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
thank you, Rose. Angela?
Hi, I'm Angela Lowe. I'm with the California Black Chamber of Commerce as well. I am the executive assistant to the president, Jay King, and I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity and looking forward to be part of the community.
Thank you, Angela. And Mr. Falk Letuan?
Hi, yes, my name is Falk Letuan. I'm an entrepreneur and I am advising a number of companies, and one of them is in the urban farming business, and they are trying to explore whether there's any opportunity to develop that activity in the Brentwood area. So I'm really here to understand more what this grant program is about and to understand if that is something that we could contribute to.
Thank you. And Jamie?
Hi, Jamie Duran. I'm also with the Brentwood Chamber of Commerce and kind of in between CFO and in between holiday parade coordinator.
Thank you, Jamie. Denise Cosgrove.
Hello, Denise Cosgrove. I am a local business owner here in Brentwood. I own Cosgrove Insurance. We're located downtown, and I'm a newly appointed member of the Board of Directors for the Chamber of Commerce, and just really excited to find out how I can help more community members here in Brentwood.
Thanks, Denise. Amy Tilly.
Well, hi. I don't know if you can see me. I guess I'm having a technical situation here. But my name's Amy. I'm the executive director for Downtown Brentwood Coalition. Oh, am I joining as a panelist?
You are.
I am. Okay.
Whoops. I might have done something. Not sure where.
Okay,
Amy,
there we are. Okay. Sorry, it kicked me out and brought me back in. So my name's Amy. I'm from Downtown Brentwood Coalition. Thank you guys. Thanks, Abraham, for putting this together. And I'm just kind of here to see what some of the new processes are, and just refine what we've done in the previous years as far as our application. And I'm available to help as well. So thank you guys for putting this together and putting this program together.
Thank you, Amy. And I think lastly, we have Tanya.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm Tanya Vilas with Prestige Cleaning. I'm a director on the chamber. Very excited to be a part of this group today.
Awesome. I think that covers everybody. Thank you for all introducing yourselves. I think it's a lot for very, very helpful for me to get familiar with some folks. So thank you. And I'll just go ahead and get started. Yeah, I guess I just want to start with the agenda for today. We already did our introductions. I'll be providing a little bit of background and history of the business license tax for those folks that aren't familiar with the funding that actually funds the grant program. Some of the priority projects which are set by the city council, which also uses the same source of funding, the competitive grants and available funding for this fiscal year, and the updated program guidelines. So this might be new information for some of you folks who haven't seen the updated guidelines. They were approved by city council on March 14th. And a quick application walkthrough. It'll pretty much just be an overview of the program guidelines. They're one and the same, but I'll be sharing some screenshots of that. And most importantly, the Q&A. I think Monday's in-person workshop went really well. We spent more time answering questions, discussing potential challenges that might be presented with some guidelines, or just some suggestions for staff for future programming. So I primarily want to use this time to try and answer any questions, and if not, note them down and have a response for you. And I'll definitely be making myself available within the next month before the application deadline. So please don't hesitate to use the chat box Q&A feature as well if you have specific questions. That way I can try and answer them when I can. But just a heads up, I'll be posting a Q&A on the city's website where the grant program guidelines will live, just so folks have that available, and we can kind of have a collective place to look as the program rolls out. So please, if you do have questions, put them in the chat. I'll try and answer them, but I just want to get through the PowerPoint first, and then we'll hold the questions till the end. But again, if something is really urgent, don't hesitate to use the raise hand feature, or you can even pop in. We're all panelists here, so it's just like if we were all in one room. I'm not restricting everybody from any access. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. So a little bit of background on the grant program. In 2002, the city of Brentwood voted to amend its city's business tax certificate ordinance. This would provide 20% of the business license tax to be collected to be set aside for economic development purposes. And that does vary. It's receipts received from the businesses themselves, but since 2004, the city has awarded around $2.6 million in grant funding. And these grant funds are awarded and dispersed and approved, sorry, by the city council. And these are the priority projects set by city council. They are approved on a 2-year process. And as you'll see, it covers the summer concert series, which seems to be quite fun. I've seen a lot of photos. Can't wait to attend some of those this year. The Harvest Time annual trail map, the holiday parade, the annual tree lighting and movies in the park, the hometown Halloween, and that covers those priority projects for these 2 funding years as you see on the screen for about almost $80,000. So this is what we have currently available for this year's competitive grants. There's about $176,000 available for competitive economic development grants for the fiscal year. And just for those folks that aren't familiar, these competitive grants are awarded on a reimbursement basis. And for folks that are familiar, this is an update. Existing or past grant awardees will be able to receive up to 50% of the grant award within 90 days of their event, but no earlier than July 1st of 2023. And new events will be reimbursed once the event is complete, and those reimbursements can take up to 30 days, but it really depends on what's submitted and the grant reimbursement request. So this is our estimated timeline for this program year. The application window did open on March 20th. So we did start accepting applications. That's when it officially opened this past Monday. And we wanted to give about a month for folks to be able to fill out their application, ask staff any questions, have all that back and forth to try and, work through the program. And the application window or deadline is April 17th. That will be at 5 p.m. And between April 18th and April 25th, staff will review and score the applications. That'll be about 3 staff members. And we'll review and score those against the scoring criteria, which I'll cover later on. And then in early May, hopefully the first week of May, these scored applications, the ones that are eligible for funding, will be brought to the Land Use and Development Committee. Once the Land Use and Development Committee has selects their recommendations, this also includes the amount of award that'll go to the full City Council for final consideration and approval on May 23rd. This is an estimated timeline. The committee meeting can change as well as the council meeting, so please be aware of that. But all this information will be posted ahead of time. If there are any changes, we don't anticipate any these dates being changed, but you never know. So I'll go into eligibility. Who's eligible to apply? Any organization or business. And when I say organization, I mean private organization. So these organizations or businesses must provide a current Brentwood business license. If a business does not have one, you can apply for one on the city's business license portal that is on the economic development webpage. I can share that link with you if you'd like. Just feel free to reach out. And any nonprofit. And those nonprofits must provide a proof of active status with the Secretary of State, or show proof that they are in the process of obtaining that status. We do realize that sometimes that takes a while, but as long as you are in the process, that won't disqualify you from applying, from being eligible to apply. Eligible projects. These include local economic development, marketing projects, programs, or events. Any community events related to local economic development efforts, business development projects, programs, or events. And most importantly, these funds requested must support projects or events conducted within city limits and benefit the community, specifically not an individual business. That's very important. That's kind of why I highlighted it. But in some cases, depending on city council's approval, if it does cross city boundaries, it would be up to the city council to allow for that event to be funded or awarded. And lastly, the event, project, or program must be held between July 1st of 2023 and June 30th of 2024. I kind of already went over this, but I think this visually gives you a sense of what the application process is. So the applications are scored by staff. It will be then brought to the Land Use and Development Committee and finally go to the full city council for consideration and approval. So as I mentioned earlier, it is a reimbursement grant. So if awarded, the grantee or awardee will shall submit the required forms. This usually includes all invoices and proof of payment related to that reimbursement request. And as I mentioned earlier, the update with the 50% upfront for previous year's awardees. And again, no earlier than July 1st of that program year or 90 days before the event. And last, I already mentioned the 30 days for new applicants. And lastly, new applicants must, this is a new update. You must provide actual revenue of the event and how those funds will be dispersed in your grant application. I'll get into the estimated budget later. So these are some of the key application requirements. I'm not going to cover all of them that are in the guidelines because that would just be exhaustive and I don't need to read them one by one, but I just wanted to include the highlighted ones here in the presentation. So please make sure you read through the updated guidelines that are available, as well as the application itself. I'm not going to cover every single detail one by one, but just wanted to make sure anyone was aware about the most important ones or the ones that have been updated. So this is new. We are requiring an estimated budget that includes project expenses. It used to be in the past where you used to have to require a budget with bids. Bids are no longer a requirement. But one nuance is if a net revenue is projected, the applicant must explain how the funds will be used for the organization or business. This is not new, but please provide a marketing plan that includes which channels of communication will be used, such as social media, email, or advertising, and any timeline related to that. This is also new and very important and critical. A needs analysis that describes the target population or gaps and opportunities, goals, and outcomes of your project, program, or event. And this is really important, is the grant funds may be used for operational expenses, but cannot be used towards staff salaries or benefit costs. And, operational expenses can vary and can be broad depending on the event or program. But that is something that we wanted to highlight. And fundraising is permitted. And the one restriction around fundraising is if there is fundraising being had, the applicants must specify how the grant funds will be allocated in this regard. So for example, how will the fund be used? Please be specific and those fundraising funds. Pass-through requirements, just an example, you can't transfer the funds for a new event or a different organization. And lastly, this is new. The City of Brentwood logo must be included in all marketing materials as a sponsor. It's not included here on this slide, but I'm in the process of getting some city banners. If folks are interested in obtaining those city banners, we will be producing those. So you can have them at your program or event. And we just ask that they be returned after the program or event is completed. But the city will be making those available. And another fun thing that will be included in that marketing, if folks are interested, is the 75th logo as well, because the City of Brentwood is celebrating its 75th anniversary. So that's included as part of the City of Brentwood logo sponsoring materials. For the scoring criteria, there's been several updates here. We wanted to make it a little bit more objective than it used to be in the past, but it is a work in progress. So this is, please ask away at the end, include them in your chat. There might be some detailed questions we can get through. So for 10 possible points, the project description is clear, concise. It includes purpose, goals, location, time and date, and any other relevant information. And that's pretty straightforward. Second, the project aligns with current city council goals, strategic plan, and supports the city's overall economic development efforts, and will help achieve positive publicity for the Brentwood throughout the region. And this third one, it's the most heavily most heavily weighted scoring criteria is, will the project increase shopping and tourist activity in Brentwood and demonstrate a maximum impact on the city's economic development? This is an increase to 40 points total possible. And it's kind of related to the purpose of the funding, and it's to help businesses within the city of Brentwood and economic development, which varies in all kinds of benefits and factors, but just wanted to highlight that one. And second, and it's somewhat related to the one I just described, is 10 points for will the project will support small business development. And I'm not going to read it word for word, but this is really important, and it's related to kind of the estimated budget or the organization as a whole. Is, will the project demonstrate a stable management structure, full fiscal accountability, and well-planned budget that includes eligible expenses, project revenue sources, estimated net revenue, and a strong financial commitment to matching private funds? Again, this is worded very specifically, but again, these will only be estimates for budgets, and it really depends on the project or program. Next here, the project includes a well-developed strategic marketing plan. I kind of explained what the marketing plan includes earlier. And lastly, the project is a new or first-time event. The total maximum score being 95 points. So the application is pretty straightforward here. I'm just going to show some screenshots of what it looks like, and where you are nearing towards the end here, so you can ask away. Just the first page of the application is pretty straightforward. I just thought I'd share it so folks are familiar with it. Yeah, I don't think I need to highlight anything here. And the project narrative, I think this is the most important piece here. Just everything that I just covered and what the application will be scored on. I'm not going to read through them one by one, but I just wanted to highlight a few things here. I'm losing track where it was. It's the last one here, is how will this project or event practice environmental sustainability? You won't be scored on that, but we just ask that you provide how you will be addressing any of those factors. And this is the template of an estimated budget, along with those line items that we discussed. And again, salaries and staff benefits are not included in the estimated budget. The other sources of funding, if there are any, including fundraising and revenue of sponsorships generated by the project, supporting ongoing operations for the organization. And this checklist is provided in the application guidelines, just to make sure you have all these when you submit. If you don't, it will be an incomplete application, so please make sure these are provided upon submittal. And it feels like I rushed through that, but I am ready to take any questions for those that may have some, and I'll do my best to answer them. But like I mentioned earlier, if you do have specific questions that I can't answer, make sure to email them to me, or I can try and workshop them here. And yes, thank you, Amy, for raising your hand. So if you do have a question, use the raise hand feature. You can also use the chat.
Okay, am I okay to ask my question?
Yes, Amy, thank you.
Oh, so something that I encountered last year was because our packet and our information was so many pages. The file size was like enormous. And so I'm wondering, would it be okay to create Google Drives, Google folders, and send the links for the backup materials and have everything kind of put that way, or does it need to be PDFs? just kind of wondering, because I struggled to upload them last year, and I tried to put them like a thumb drive, it was a whole thing. And I've organized all of my stuff in Google Drives. I'm just wondering if that would be acceptable to send links for things.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes for now, but then I'd have to check with our IT policy and whatnot with link sharing. I do know we either use Dropbox or one of those. And if it is a large file size, it would probably a folder that I would share to you, and you would just drag and drop your Google Docs into that. But that shouldn't be an issue at all. And let's say you do run into a technical issue and it's an hour after 5 on April 17th, that would not disqualify you. But let's get ahead of the game on that one, and I'll have an answer for you. It shouldn't be a problem in this case, because I do know our email file sizes are very limited to those. So thanks for bringing that up. That's the first time I've encountered it. Any other questions? Denise?
So you mentioned that the meetings for will be posted. So what is the general time frame that we can anticipate looking for those meetings for land use development, as well as, well, city council is fine, but land use development specifically?
Yeah, let me go back to the estimated timeline. Like I mentioned, I don't anticipate them changing at all. But like I don't have a specific date for the one in May for the land use development committee, but it will be that first week. I'm honing in on that, but per policy, we're just required to post the agenda and the meeting 72 hours ahead of time, and like city council meetings are, I think, up to 2 or 3 weeks earlier than that. So you'll know the city council meeting for sure. Just depends what item will be on that meeting, which relates to the city council meeting, but I'll definitely do my best to confirm when that meeting is when it will be going to lead, but I'm 90% that this timeline will not change. I guess just got to be on the safer side. You never know.
Can I ask one more quick question while I'm here?
Yeah.
I just, again, for clarification purposes, the priority grants are not a part of the 176?
They're not part of the 176.
Okay.
And it's 174, I think.
Or
176. Yeah, no, 176. 744 is the priority or not.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a specific set aside just for the competitive grants.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking that though. Fuck.
Yes, just a simple question. Are the number of grants limited, per year, or is there a maximum amount for the grant for a particular applicants?
Great question. There's no maximum request, but do realize we only have 176,000 available. So the amount of ask, I mean, it won't score you less, but we will determine how much a project should cost, or can be awarded, and that definitely the final say is to LUD and then eventually city council. So there's no max on the amount of grant that could be requested, but typically we award between, I think, 6 to 10 or 12 grants. So we want to kind of spread it out evenly the best we can.
Thank you. I understand.
Rose?
Okay, well, one of my questions just got answered. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Mike, are we going to have access to these, the PowerPoint, your slides and the recording?
Yeah, the
to
recording will be posted, but I'll also be making this PowerPoint available as well as PDF.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'll be sending a specific follow-up email to the attendees today at this workshop.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course. I don't see any other hands.
One more question, Abram.
Sure.
Does the event have to last, more than one day, or is it just a half a day or a day? Is there a minimum duration for the event?
There's not. No, there's no minimum or maximum duration. It really just comes down to your estimated budget. And we're scoring it and awarding it really based off of the scoring criteria and those questions asked in the application itself. But it's not limited to that as it stands. It's not limited, or there's no minimum amount.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Denise?
Back. So with regard to grants being awarded, when the land use development is looking, well, first the city staff, then land use, then the city council, if there's an overlay of programs in terms of the scoring and who is it being used by, what demographic is benefiting that grant, is there any additional insight or what is being looked for with regard to helping the committees identify whether they're accepted and approved and for how much?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to that needs analysis, and that is where you could make the case for the program or event is what is the need, and that really specifies the audience, the purpose, the goals and outcomes. I think that's really where us as staff will be assessing it, but eventually, I mean, essentially, the Land Use Development Committee, that was a request from them to add that to the scoring criteria. I mean, to the application narrative. So I think that's where the opportunity is, and again, it's the 40-point question is the impact on the city's economic development. Related to those impacts too. So I think the needs analysis is somewhere to look, and in particular, again, is the response to the impact on economic development. Great question, Denise. Thank you. Gerald Johnson.
Hey, Abraham. Oops, my camera's off, I guess. I don't know how to turn on my camera. I don't see the button here to turn it on. But anyway, just a quick question. Can you go back to the slide that said what the monies were used for or could be used for? There was a slide, I think it was, I know it had a few.
This one?
No, not the history. It said like there was four categories that the money could be used for. It was like
The eligibility.
There it is.
Yeah.
So marketing. So it can be used for marketing projects, programs, and events, community events, and business development program. So what is defined as a marketing project, program, or event? Marketing to who? What is that?
So I would say marketing to Brentwood. If you're familiar, maybe, and that's my take on it, right? And this is just as the program guidelines stand. But it's a local economic development marketing effort. So whether you're
marketing about Brentwood to
Brentwood businesses to the region.
Okay, just marketing, plain out marketing.
I mean, it's very, very general.
Yeah, I know what
in my
community
opinion.
events are, and I know what business development events are. And then I got another question about money being fungible. So there's several things about what the money can be used for. So I'm just trying to understand what that means.
Sure. And is there anything in particular?
Well, meaning if I made $10 and and something else I did made $10, how do I know where the $10 went? Does that make sense? Or
in maybe estimated or projected revenue?
There was a slide in here about what you could use the net income for, or
yeah, this one, I think.
Estimated budget. No, I don't know if it's that one. It's probably the next one.
The operational expenses or the fundraising?
It was about the net income. And all I would say is that since money is fungible, you know, it's kind of, they had certain uses that the money could be used for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think since it's an update, we could work with you on answering that one. And
You know what I'm saying? If I have two things going on and they both make $100, right?
mm-hmm.
And how do you say where the money's coming from? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think it's just an explanation of, let's just say this event is estimated to make $20,000. You know what I mean? It's where what does this event or the organization think they will be using that revenue on? Will it be to pay for certain operational expenses? Will it be to pay for a certain vendor? In some cases, it's really expensive to rent equipment. So will that where will that revenue be going? Essentially, I think that's my interpretation.
And it just, I know I'm asking a lot here, but
it's okay.
In the past, we the chamber has put on events, and I think it's like a circular deal where we're asking for a grant, and then the city's charging us, let's say $3,000 for police and money for garbage and certain things, certain fees that are generated by the city. So we get the grant to pay the city, right? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I've processed some reimbursements.
It's like a circular deal. It's like we didn't need the money. We only needed the money because you charged us the money. It's that.
Yes. So I'm working on that one, and that was actually brought up on Monday's workshop. So thanks for highlighting that. And I think we're gonna have an answer for the group and for this year on that one. And there are waivers. There's a waiver application that the city does have, and there's a waiver policy that we must follow. So I can make that available just so you can at least have that ready as you're building your estimated budget, because there could be significant savings on that.
Does the fire department, the police department?
Well, fire would be different because the city doesn't have a fire department. That's the county.
Right.
But definitely police and any type of street closures.
There's a whole slew of things that we have to pay for.
Yeah, and an event downtown is different than an event in a certain shopping center, right? Is my understanding. But yeah, I'm working on that so we can have a detailed answer. And I think it's a great point to bring up, because certain events do take more city resources than others. And that's just one thing to be aware of too.
And last one, are you expecting the events to be like a zero-sum game? In other words, they're not supposed to make money, or is it okay that they do make money?
I think it is okay. And I think that's why we're just asking for an explanation. But that won't disqualify one event from another. If it's like, oh, this is a money maker, we're going to score it less. That's not into the scoring criteria. I think it's the long-winded scoring criteria here. Sorry, I'm just jumping through these. It demonstrates stable management structure, full fiscal accountability, that long-winded one. Then it's 10 points again. It's not weighted like the 40.1,
Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course. And I know, Adam, you've been patiently waiting, so
no problem. I'm used to hearing Gerald speak, so it's okay. No, actually, Gerald took one of my concerns as well, because of due to the fact that a lot of the money that are made off of these events actually go to the city because we're charged at almost a retail value. And so some type of trade-off would be helpful if as far as the grants or reimbursement or lesser fees for trash and police, that would be very helpful. Just something to go back with. Also touching on this 40-point here, this as far as your scoring criteria here, the 40-point, that is to increase. So if we do an event downtown Brentwood, which will bring 5,000 people to downtown and boost the revenue for those smaller businesses, is that going to weigh more than if we go to another part of town, or vice versa? Do you want to see more spread out events and not just focus on downtown?
Yeah, I mean, if it's an impact on economic development, that could be anywhere, you know,
Yes.
and there's businesses all over the city. So it's not restricted to downtown. And if you haven't seen the LUD meeting that approved these guidelines, they addressed that because there was a proposal that it was specific or it was beneficial for events to be in downtown or in specific areas, but that's not the case. So it can be anywhere, and it wouldn't be more heavily weighted. I think it really just comes down to the impact.
As long as it brings people and helps the business community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
we
then
have
as far as
several
the profits, if the profits of an event would then go back to the business community, would that have more weight than saying a nonprofit or another organization that wouldn't?
I think we'd be getting into the weeds with that one.
Okay.
And even for me, my take, economic development impact, it's very broad. So it really comes down to someone's interpretation. It doesn't have to be a for-profit business. You can't have an economic development on a nonprofit organization.
Okay, perfect.
There's multiple ways, but I think it really comes down to the interpreter, which is why it's staff, LUD, and city council. That's a very diverse group of folks. So that's our attempt to try and make sure it's interpreted in various different ways equally, not just by one group or the other.
And one last quick question. I know you do give, it was, I believe, the next slide or the slide before this for new.
That's the last one. Yeah.
New events.
New events. Yeah.
Now, would that classify as a brand new event, or what if we, like for the hometown of Halloween in particular, we were looking to expand? Now, if we were looking to expand and bring a new element to an existing event, would that have any weight to it, or is that still considered an old event?
Great question. I think it's only 5 points, but you know, five could be a deal breaker. It would be less of a new event, you know, if it was just a tweak.
It would be less of a new event, but an addition to an existing event. So it's not. I see.
It would. I mean, I would say that instead of getting 3 points, I would get 4. Right.
Okay, because it's ultimately growing, expanding, bringing more possible revenue to downtown, and by expanding, it would then bring in more revenue.
Yeah, and I think that would be weighted elsewhere, but if it's just to the specific scoring criteria, not really. There would be a greater economic impact if it was expanded, right?
Absolutely.
But it wouldn't be a new event. So you'd be focusing more on the 40 point question than the new event question. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Thank you.
You can write that in the narrative to the 40 point question, and then it would be okay. It's the same event, but they're expanding it, so therefore it has a better impact. So it'd be added to a different scoring criteria.
Thank you.
These are great questions. Thank you.
So this is just a little bit back on the question that Adam was presenting with regard to the 40 point. Listening to the LUD meeting and then also being a part of the Monday meeting, I think and I could be totally off base, but a part of that element with the 40 points and the public versus or downtown versus a private space is that 40 points isn't just for how much money is being brought into the area. It's also in terms of how what's the word I'm looking for? It's not just a private property that is for a smaller location. So that 40 points is not just how much money is coming in, but it's actually how much breadth of visibility that incorporates the marketing, incorporates the residents, that increases overall visibility and awareness for Brentwood.
Yeah, I think you can definitely interpret it that way. And let's just say it's a shopping center that's not usually active. If you're bringing all that activity and the end result is new businesses open up there, that would definitely be an impact, right? So yeah, it really comes down to how it's explained, right?
Sorry, I just thought another question. Would an event be penalized, or how would, if an event is focused towards one individual group of our community as opposed to the entire community, would that have any effect negatively or positively on the decision making?
As it stands, there's no clear answer to that, but I think it's in the needs analysis, right? It comes down to that, and it's in the guidelines, but there can't be any discrimination or exclusion, right, of an event. But again, I think anybody understands that one. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, I think it's the needs analysis. I think it's more explaining why this is needed. And then let's say it's for a particular group, you can justify it by saying underserved group, or under invested group, or part of the community. That would be the need analysis there that could justify that and explain
So the
why.
reason I was speaking of that is because earlier how I mentioned I'm a chair for the hometown Halloween, but I'm also in the committee of the La Gran Fiesta, and which is catered towards the Hispanic culture. Now we are catering towards that large community here in Brentwood. I think it's 30% population, but we are not limiting only to Hispanic. We are also keeping it open to whoever wants to participate and maybe do business with the Hispanic community. So we want to keep that open to all and not just to Hispanic culture only.
100%. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And even though there's no points directly related to it, it is still part of the application and what it will be assessed. And that's why I think it's great that there's a needs analysis in the narrative. And although staff, can decide if there's a need, and then that will affect maybe the amount that's awarded. But again, LUD will interpret and decide based off of that narrative and how it's explained. And part of that narrative is that needs analysis. So I think although it's not a scoring criteria, it still adds and could affect the award or not.
Excellent. Thank you.
Please ask away. And I'm not sure, for those who weren't here right away, we are scheduling one-on-one appointments for anyone who is interested. It will be with myself, and if any of our other staff is available, we can sit one-on-one to kind of work through the project, program, or idea and kind of answer any questions you guys might have. We are available to meet in person, but we can always schedule a Zoom call. I understand we can provide that accessibility as well. But also, like I mentioned, feel free to email me, email the economic development at brentwoodca.gov email as well. I'll be watching that on a daily basis. So this is not your only opportunity to ask any questions. And I just wanted to mention that. So thank you. We got a little bit of time left. I know we got 9 minutes. We don't need to eat up the whole time. But please ask away, and I'll stick around if people would like to, or meet separately. I can stick around for a little bit longer too, but if you don't have any other questions, feel free to drop off. I'll stay on till the hour. And I can't wait to meet more folks. It's been great for this to be my first assignment and project. It seems like a fun one, and so it'll be a good year. So thank you all for attending.
Well, I gotta run, but thank you so much, Abraham. Nice meeting you. I look forward to meeting, working with you in the future. Welcome to Brentwood and the new position. But I got to get out of here. It was a very informative meeting, though. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I gotta leave as well, Abraham. Thanks. Good
Thanks.
seeing you again.
Good seeing
And,
you, Gerald.
You picked a doozy to start off with, I'll tell you that much.
A doozy.
Awesome job,
Abraham.
Abraham. I
Cynthia,
appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Abraham.
Thank you,
everyone. It's very
Adam.
helpful.
Yeah,
Thank you, Abraham.
Abraham, that was very informative. Appreciate it.